Good morning. Happy Saturday. I wanted to hop on really quick because I rechecked my live video from Thursday night, and for some reason, actually I think it was the internet connection, it was really blurry. And I did rewatch it, and I just did not like the quality. I felt that it was hard for you to see what was happening, so I decided that I would do another video. So on Thursday, I showed you how to create the background of this card. Get some more light in here. And how to shadow the candle. So I did already stamp the candle, and I stamped that in Pacific Point, a nice bright color. And then for the background, I'm going to use Balmy Blue and Misty Moonlight. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did. So let me just get rid of this paper, because when I blend, I like to blend on the glass. You could use, let me just grab it here. You could use the sponge daubers from Stampin Up. And this is item number 133773. Now these you would hold on your finger and work the color. I find that I have a very heavy hand, and this little holder helps me control the color a little more, and I'm less likely to press really hard. So that's why I use this little holder. So I'm just going to start out. Let me just cut a piece of paper, since I cut the wrong one. Give me a second. Just cut this really quick. See that? I did the candle and cut the wrong paper for the background. So what we're going to do is start out with the Balmy Blue. And let's just... looks better. It's actually a little... okay. And we're close enough. So we're just going to ink up the sponge. I like to start off the paper, and we're starting with the lighter color, and we're just going to very lightly blend the edges of this paper. And if you turn your paper, you do still have ink. I still have ink on my glass mat, and I'm going to go all in the card, but I'm going to leave a white spot in the center. That's going to be a nice bright spot. So I'm just going to continue around, pressing very lightly, bringing that color in towards the center. I still have some ink on the glass that I can pull up. And we just want this to have a nice white center, as you can see. Okay, we'll wipe this off. As you can see from the cloth, I don't know how well you can see that, but it did still have ink on the glass mat. So now we're going to pull out the Misty Moonlight, and I'm just going to change out my disc and ink this up, and then we're going to do it again. Now we're not going to come all the way down. This one we're just going to stay towards the edge and give it a nice blend. And we're going to keep doing this until the outside color is just as dark as we want it. Now when you start, if you can see right here, I hit the paper. That's why you need to start off it, so you can come up and really get that blend going. And like I said, I'm just going to keep going around and adding color to the outside, leaving that balmy blue exposed, but giving it a nice blend. And we're going to keep doing this until we get the color that we really like. And you must realize, for your white to be really bright, you need to add dark. And I know sometimes when you're adding a dark color, either with pencils or Copics or Stampin' Blends, it can be scary at times to add that darkness. But you honestly do need darkness to show your light. I'm just going to grab the color that's still on my mat here. Get this nice and dark. I think what I'll do, after I get this side a little darker, I'm going to go back to my balmy blue, get this dark off, change the disc. Whoops, well, that one's gone. You can see I use that one a lot. And we're just going to go back to the balmy blue and just blend this darkness out a little bit more. So I have a little bit more of a balmy blue center. Okay, and see, oh, it looks like I froze. That's crazy. Okay, so as you can see, now the middle is nice and light, and then we go around to the darkness. I'm just going to pause this for a second. I guess it is my internet connection. Hold on one second. Oh, there we go. It just came back. Okay, so I can see. See, so now we have darkness, and the light is a little harsh, so it's nice and dark around the edges, and then it's light on the inside. Now what I want to do is, let me just move this card out of the way. I'm going to use my spritzer, my Stampin' Up spritzer. And I'm going to just grab a block, an acrylic block, and I could even use the table. And we're just going to put some water on. Pick up some water with the paintbrush. And we're going to splatter this water on the sheet that we just did. You can put as many splatters as you want, making sure you hit each part. Let that absorb into the ink. Just wipe that off. Just gonna quick wipe my table. And then just take your towel and give it a little pat, and we're gonna let that dry. And again, you probably can't see because of the light, but you can see the splatters are pulling that ink off the paper. Let's put this back on because I think we're getting the glare from the glass. Excuse me. But now you can see the splatters have taken the ink away, and that's how you create that background. Now let's jump to the candle. Like I said, I can't zoom my camera anymore, but I'll hold it up to you. I did it in Pacific Blue, and I'm going to grab my blends. I have Dark Misty Moonlight, Dark Night of Navy, Light Night of Navy, Dark Seaside Spray, and Light Seaside Spray. Now, I'm going to start with my darkest color. Now, let's just check to see. This is the Night of Navy. And that's the Misty Moonlight. Now, the Misty Moonlight is a little bit of a different color. So I think what I'm going to do is pull the Misty Moonlight out instead and use that. It's a little bit more, it goes a little bit better with the blue on the candle. And what I'm going to do, I think you've heard me say it before, I use the nib end. The brush to me makes the paper bleed too much, and that's good for an overcoat, but not when you want to really get some detail going. So we're going to grab our Dark Misty Moonlight, and we're going to go along the edge of this candle, giving it a nice dark line. And the reason we're doing that is, let me just grab a pencil. We have a pencil that's rounded, just like your candle is rounded. Now, with the light shining on it, and you can't, let me put this on so you can see. When you have the light shining on it, I don't know where my pokey tool went. Oh, here it is. We'll put it right here. Okay, my light is on this side. It's over here. So when I hold this pencil, can you see this nice bright line? This nice bright line right here, that is where the light is hitting first. And as you go down the pencil, it gets darker on these sides. That's what gives you your shadows, and that's what shows that it's a round pencil. Same thing when you put it down on a piece of paper. You still, depending on where your light is, you're still going to see that white bright line. And then your dark color is going to be under here because there's no light getting under there. And then as it comes out, you can see that the dark gets lighter as it comes out from under the pencil. Same thing with the roundness. It's darkest in the back, and as you come up and around the pencil, the shadow gets lighter, and then where the light hits is where it's the brightest. So we're going to recreate that shadow. I'm going to close that again. But we're going to recreate that shadow on our candle. So I did put my line on this side. So I'm just going to turn it. I like to be able to see where I'm coloring. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm very carefully going to put a dark line down the side of this candle. And then I'm also going to use this dark to put a ridge for the top of the candle. Can you see how that changed the color a little bit? So now we're going to go to our next Misty Moonlight. And we're going to flick from the, here's the edge of the candle, flick with a little bit of a round flick, lifting the marker off the page, but we're going to get them closer together. So when you flick, you'll have little flicks going down the candle. You don't want the lines uniform on the edges, but you want to give it a little bit of roundness. So again, using the nib, I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to go over that dark Misty Moonlight and flick out, adding a little bit more darkness, thickening that line that you just put down, little flicks all the way down the candle. I'm going to extend that a little for the bottom of the candle because the light from the flame won't hit down here as bright as it will on the other side on the rest of the candle. And then I'm just going to flick going up this side of the candle. Like I said, where I'm coloring, I like to have that closest to me. Then you can see the line, see where the nib of the marker is going. Okay, so that's the light Misty Moonlight. Now you can see I have the dark line and then a little bit lighter. Now I'm going to grab my dark Seaside Spray. I just want to see. That looks good. And we're going to do that again, not going all the way back. Excuse me. Let me get a drink of coffee. You're not going to go all the way back to the darkest, but you are going to go over the light Misty Moonlight. And we're just going to extend that color a little bit more because we want to get closer to the center of the candle. And like I said, your flicks don't need to be straight on the out, towards the middle of the candle because the light hits it differently. But you're going to do it on both sides, just going over the light Misty Moonlight, extending that darkness. Okay. Now you can see it's extended a little further. Now we're going to take our light balmy blue, and this time I will use the brush because I want to extend this out a little further, adding that color, darkening that white, changing the color of the stamped image. come around to this side. Just extend that color to the center of the candle. And then that is, and you can go over it again. If it, in person, you can tell the change in the color very well. If you feel it's not dark enough on either side, you can go back and add another layer. I'll do it just on one side, but we're going to add that dark because, you know, the more layers you put down, the darker it's going to become. So let's just do this one side so you can see the difference. And you don't have to use blends to do this. You can do this with Copics. You can do this with pencils. You're not limited to the coloring tool that you want to use. So if you don't have blends at home, then use whatever you have. It doesn't have to be blue. It could also be gray. You can use grays to do this. So I'm just going to extend this line. Again, this is the dark seaside spray. And I'm just flicking these colors out. All the way down the candle. And then the light seaside spray, we're going to use the brush. And we're just going to extend that line a little more, making sure we leave the center. Okay. So now you can see with another layer, there is a nice shadow there compared to this side. So just adding color makes it a little darker. Now to bring that darkness out, I am just going to grab a white Derwent Chinese white drawing pencil, and I'm just going to very lightly color a white space down the whole center of the candle. Because like I said, this candle is circular, it's round. So we want this middle to be nice and bright. And then I like to take a gel pen, and in the white area, I'm just going to add some white gel pen to the center. Now sometimes the gel pen does not write well. But right where you went down the center of the candle with that white pencil, that's where you're going to add your white gel pen. Just like that. And to be honest, I don't know if I have it sitting right here. But I also use, oh, yep. I also use gouache when I'm adding highlights. It depends on what I'm doing. It's like a opaque white, so the color underneath does bleed through. So it doesn't change and make it stark white. It just changes the color that you already have down. So there you can see, now there's a nice white line down the center, and it makes, this is the darker side that I colored twice, it just gives this candle the appearance of being rounded instead of the flat image that it is. So I hope this video helps the next time you want to color something that's circular. I mean, it doesn't have to be a candle. It can be anything that's circular. So have a great day. I'll see you soon. I may be jumping back on and off later on today. I'm going to be working on my new streaming program. So if you see me in and out, that's why. Have a great day. I'll see you on Tuesday, and then I'll see you Thursday night in my group. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.